Everyone tells you that you have to be perfect, master complicated techniques, or look like a model to have unforgettable sex. But that is only half the truth. After years of working with couples and deeply understanding male psychology, I realized something fundamental that changes everything. There is something that, if you don't understand it, can cause him to disconnect from you emotionally, even in the most intimate moments. And it's not what you think. It's not about your body, your experience, or your performance. It's about something much deeper that happens in his brain and that most women are completely unaware of. I will be brutally honest with you. I have seen extraordinary, intelligent, beautiful women completely lose their emotional connection with their partners because they didn't understand these 7 neurological elements that turn an intimate encounter into an experience that remains unforgettable for life. And when I say unforgettable, I mean neurobiologically. And I'm talking about encounters that activate such deep reward systems in the male brain that they leave what I call lasting dopaminergic traces. Neural connections that associate your presence and essence with the deepest, most authentic pleasure. Here is something experience has taught me. This is especially important for mature women because we have something that younger women have not fully developed yet. We have the ability to create true emotional intimacy, and that is our greatest evolutionary advantage. And I understand that after pain, disappointing relationships, and moments when you felt invisible or unappreciated, it can be hard to believe that you carry within yourself the power to create this deep connection. But you do, and I will explain exactly how to activate it. During my clinical work, I observed a fascinating pattern. The women who create the most memorable experiences for their partners are not necessarily the youngest, the most experienced, or those with the perfect body. They are the ones who have learned to access their deepest, most authentic feminine power. And here lies the true revolution. When a mature woman understands these neuropsychological principles and lives them from a place of true authenticity, she not only transforms her partner's experience, she also regains access to her own most powerful, fulfilling sexuality. As Carl Jung noted in his studies of the collective unconscious, there is an archetypal wisdom in mature femininity that goes far beyond the physical. Jung knew that true attraction arises from integrating our shadow and our light, from fully embracing our complex, authentic nature. The first element that completely changes the male experience is what I call authentic neuro-emotional affirmation. And here is where many women go wrong. It's not about pretending, acting, or making noises. It's about something entirely different. When a man hears real, honest words coming from your actual experience in intimacy, his brain releases a wave of dopamine that creates deep emotional connections. I'm not talking about rehearsed moaning, but sentences like, "You're driving me crazy. I love what you're doing. I enjoy this so much with you." Do you know what happens neurologically when you say that sincerely? His nervous system perceives that he is not just physically successful, but that he is seen, recognized, and appreciated as a man. And that activates what is called the primary male reward system. You, who have already experienced mature relationships, know men, no matter how confident they appear, have a deep need to know that they truly bring you pleasure. This genuine verbal affirmation is like a direct injection into his emotional system. It gives him the certainty that you are happy with him, that he is giving you real pleasure. But let me tell you something that completely changed my perspective. The difference between manipulative and authentic affirmation. Manipulative affirmation comes from fear, from the desire to please, from trying to play a role. Authentic affirmation comes from your true experience of pleasure, your ability to be fully present and really feel what is happening. And I have worked with women who had completely lost their true voice in intimacy. Women who believed they had to act, meet expectations, and be perfect to be desired. And when they learned to express their genuine pleasure without acting, everything changed. I particularly remember the case of a 45-year-old woman who was completely disconnected from her sexuality. For years, she only pretended to feel what she thought her partner wanted to hear. When she learned to connect with her real experience and express it unfiltered, not only did her relationship change, she also found a part of herself that she thought was lost forever. This brings me to the second fundamental element, which I call spontaneous emotional enthusiasm. This is something that only mature women can give authentically, because we have learned to connect with our own pleasure without shame. Here is something I observe again and again in my practice. Men are biologically programmed to know whether a woman is truly present or just acting. Their primitive brain, the part that cannot lie, knows exactly whether a reaction is real or just a performance. When you laugh, play, react spontaneously, when you allow yourself to be unfiltered, you send deep neurological signals to his system that say, "She is really here. She is enjoying this. This is real." And it is exactly this authenticity that creates what we call an emotional, high-intensity memory. I have seen wonderful women lose their inner glow because they believed they had to play a role, be perfect, fulfill unrealistic expectations. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Your spontaneity, your ability to be present in your own pleasure, is what creates that indelible connection. And here is another aspect that neuroscience teaches us. When a woman is truly present in her own pleasure, her body releases pheromones and energetic signals that the male brain unconsciously perceives. This not only activates physical arousal in him, but also a deep emotional connection. The difference between a woman who is acting and one who is truly present is enormous from a neurological perspective. The first can trigger short-term physical pleasure. The second creates lasting neural connections that make him associate that experience with something unique, special, and irreplaceable. Your ability to laugh wholeheartedly when something truly moves you, to sigh when you feel real pleasure, to move as your body wants, without mental choreography, that is the magic that goes beyond the physical and reaches deeply into the emotional. The third element that makes the difference may seem simple at first glance, but it is neurologically highly effective: intense eye contact during intimacy. And this is where another common misconception among women lies. It is not about technique, it is about real emotional vulnerability. When you maintain eye contact in those intimate moments, you activate his deepest bonding system. On a neurological level, oxytocin, the so-called bonding hormone, is released, creating what we call neural synchronization. But this requires something that only emotional maturity makes possible: the ability to show yourself vulnerable without fear, to be fully present without hiding, to look at him without a mask. It is an act of emotional courage that men instinctively recognize as extraordinary. You who have come to know yourself, worked on yourself, and healed your wounds, you have the ability to offer this authentic presence. And it is exactly this presence that leads to a deep neurological connection he will never forget. Here is something my clinical experience has shown me. This eye contact is not just visual, it is energetic, it is emotional. It is communication without words, between two nervous systems that recognize and appreciate each other. Many women avoid eye contact during intimacy out of shame, insecurity, or fear of being truly seen. But when a mature woman learns to hold that gaze, to truly allow herself to be seen, she creates a level of intimacy that goes far beyond the physical. I have observed that this conscious eye contact triggers something in men that we call soul recognition, that feeling of truly seeing and being seen on the deepest level. And this creates a positive emotional dependence that makes them associate this experience with something sacred, unique, and irreplaceable. Neuroscience shows us that when two people look into each other's eyes in moments of vulnerability, something happens that we call brain synchronization. Their brain waves literally attune to each other, creating a sense of connection that transcends the individual self. The fourth element completely changes the dynamic. I call it the woman's emotional initiative. And this is especially powerful for mature women, because we have learned to know what we want and to express it without shame. Let me explain something that changes everything. Men are used to taking the lead, making the first move, being the seekers. But when a mature woman takes the initiative, not out of desperation, but from genuine, authentic desire, she activates something in him that I call confirmation of being desired. I am not talking about being aggressive or denying yourself. I am talking about small gestures that communicate, I desire you, I choose you, I appreciate you. It can be as simple as kissing him first, whispering something in his ear, or taking his hand and guiding it. Do you know what happens in his brain when you do this? His reward system is activated, the one linked to the feeling of being chosen, desired, appreciated. For a man, it is neurologically highly impactful when a woman approaches him, not out of neediness, but from true inner desire. Here is something many women do not understand. This initiative must come from your connection with yourself, from your ability to feel and express your own desire. It is not a technique, but an authentic expression of your mature femininity. Yet what I often see is this. Many mature women have unlearned how to take initiative out of fear of rejection, due to past wounds, or because of societal conditioning. Regaining this ability to openly express your desire means reclaiming your most powerful feminine energy. I have worked with women who had completely lost their ability to express desire. Women who always waited for the man to make the first move, who were used to being passive, never voicing their own wants. And when they rediscovered this ability, the entire dynamic of their relationships changed. Mature feminine initiative is not the same as youthful initiative. It does not come from insecurity or the need for validation, but from a place of abundance, self-awareness, and conscious choice. And that is irresistible to the male brain. When a woman in her 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond shows initiative from a place of authenticity, she sends a powerful message. I want to be here. With you, I desire this. I value this moment. And this message triggers a deep neurological response in him, of gratitude and emotional connection. The fifth element is perhaps the most profound and transformative. I call it conscious emotional presence. And this is something we can only offer when we have walked the inner path of knowing and healing ourselves. I want to be honest with you, in a world full of superficial contacts, casual relationships, and soulless encounters, true emotional presence is a revolution. When a mature woman can be truly emotionally present during intimacy, it creates an experience that remains imprinted forever. What does conscious emotional presence mean? It means slowing down the rhythm when your heart tells you to. It means embracing when you feel closeness, breathing together, letting the feelings flow without censoring them. It means being completely in your body, in your heart, and in the present moment. Men, even if many cannot put it into words, have a deep longing for exactly this kind of true emotional presence. Their nervous system senses when a woman is really there, when she is not acting, not fulfilling expectations, but simply being herself. And that activates in them what I call the deep bonding system. This is not just about physical attraction or lust, it is soul recognition. It is the deep feeling of being seen, accepted, and valued as a whole. Let me explain something that attachment neuroscience has taught me. When two nervous systems meet in this true emotional presence, something occurs that we call neural co-regulation. Their heart rhythms synchronize, their breathing aligns, and their nervous systems calm each other. That is the difference between mechanical sex and a truly transformative intimate encounter. And this ability for emotional presence develops with maturity, with self-awareness, with the ability to inhabit our own bodies without shame. I have observed in my clinical practice that mature women who have worked on themselves therapeutically, healed emotional wounds, and learned to be present with themselves have a unique ability to offer this conscious emotional presence. It is no coincidence that many men, after superficial relationships, are consciously drawn to mature women. In the presence of a woman who knows herself, accepts herself, and has healed herself, there is something deeply healing, whistle, and soul addictive for the male mind. This conscious emotional presence also includes the ability to feel and express gratitude during intimacy. when you truly feel what a gift this moment is, what a blessing this connection represents, that energy transfers and transforms the encounter into a sacred experience. It also includes the ability to be present with the feelings that arise. If you feel tenderness, allow it. If you sense a deep connection, share it. If you are moved by the beauty of the moment, show your emotions. This emotional authenticity is what transforms a physical encounter into a profound experience. As Carl Jung explained in his theory of individuation, maturity means integrating all parts of our psyche, including our sexuality and our capacity for emotional intimacy. This integration is what allows us to embody such powerful and authentic presence. The sixth element that completely changes the experience is what I call the art of creative emotional attention. And here comes a central insight from practice. Male brains are programmed to respond intensely to well-calibrated anticipation. I'm not talking about playing games or manipulative behavior. I am talking about something far more refined, the ability to build emotional and physical tension in a way that deepens desire and neurologically intensifies the later moment of being together. This can be as subtle as a touch that pauses exactly at the moment he wants more. A look that promises something without fulfilling it immediately. Words that awaken expectations. It is the art of mature seduction, where every gesture carries intention and every pause holds meaning. Do you know what happens neurologically during this? His brain releases dopamine not only during the actual togetherness, but already during the phase of anticipation. This way, he associates your presence with anticipated pleasure, and from this arises what we call positive emotional dependence. But here is the crucial point. This tension must come from your connection with yourself, from your ability to feel your own sensual rhythm, not from insecurity or the desire to control. When it comes from your authenticity, it becomes magnetic. And here lies a great advantage of mature women. We know our rhythms, our desires, our inner timing. We can create this tension from our wisdom, not from fear or nervousness. This ability to play with time, to create conscious pauses, to let desire gradually build, that is an art that has matured with emotional experience. And men instinctively recognize it as something special. Creative emotional attention also means alternating emotional depth with lightness, allowing a playful moment after a moment full of intimacy. This variation of emotional intensity keeps the male brain alert, stimulated and connected. I have seen how women who master the art of conscious tension keep their partners deeply connected, not just in bed, but in every facet of the relationship. It is as if they can skillfully touch the strings of the male soul. This also includes the ability to consciously prolong pleasure, not out of manipulation, but from the deep understanding that what one anticipates with excitement is experienced more intensely. Jung spoke about the importance of creative tension in the process of individuation, and this very tension, consciously brought into the realm of intimacy, can transform the entire experience of connection between two people. And this brings us to the seventh element, perhaps the most powerful and transformative of all, what I call vulnerable authenticity without a mask. This element separates unforgettable encounters from forgettable ones. And it is something we can only give when we have done the deep inner work to fully accept ourselves. I want to tell you something that can change your perspective forever. The most unforgettable sex for a man is not the most technically perfect, not with the most perfect body, not the most acrobatic. It is the one where the woman is completely present, in her realness, without acting, without pretending, without hiding, when you stop trying to be perfect and simply allow yourself to be real. When you allow yourself to show your vulnerability, when you give yourself permission to be spontaneous without censorship, you offer something that is becoming increasingly rare in this world: pure authenticity. And here lies a great misunderstanding among many women. This authenticity is not a weakness. It is a strength. The strength of a woman who knows herself, accepts herself, and allows herself to be fully seen. And neurologically, this is deeply addictive to the male brain. Do you know why? Because through your own realness, you allow him to drop his mask as well. This creates what I call synchronization of vulnerability, a meeting from soul to soul, without protection, without roles. I have witnessed extraordinary changes when women realize this. Women who thought they had to meet expectations, adapt, be perfect, discover that their vulnerable realness is their greatest gift. Let me explain something that neuropsychological attachment research has taught me. When two people meet each other in this mutual authenticity, profound bonding systems are activated that go far beyond the physical. It creates an emotional, high-intensity memory that remains permanently. Your ability to truly laugh when something amuses you, to sigh when you feel genuine pleasure, to tremble when you are moved, to say what you feel, without filter, without acting, that is exactly what creates this indelible connection. And here is something I particularly observe in mature women. Through experience, we have learned that perfection is an illusion. That authenticity is what truly connects. That conscious vulnerability is our emotional superpower. This vulnerable authenticity also means allowing the feelings that arise during intimacy. If you feel tenderness, express it. If you feel gratitude, share it. If you sense a deep connection, allow it. You do not censor your real emotional experience. But let me be very clear about something important. Authenticity does not mean giving up your boundaries or losing your self-respect. It means staying true to yourself within a framework of self-love and mutual respect. It means living your truth from inner strength, not from neediness or fear. Vulnerable authenticity also includes the ability to share your true desires, your authentic fantasies, your emotional needs during intimacy, not as a demand, but as a loving sharing of your inner world. I have worked with women who had hidden their true sexual nature for decades, who had adapted to what they thought their partners wanted, who played roles that were not their own. And when they finally allowed themselves to be real, their entire intimate experience transformed radically. This authenticity also encompasses the ability to show your imperfections without shame, your scars, your quirks, the marks life has left on you, everything that makes you unique. When a mature woman can show her body and soul without apology, it creates an experience of total acceptance. And this is deeply healing for both. Carl Jung wrote about the importance of integrating our shadow, those parts of ourselves we often want to hide in intimate contexts. This integration empowers us to show up as a whole, with light and shadow. And that is what truly makes transformative connections possible. And here lies what can change your love life forever. When you integrate these 7 elements from your mature authenticity, you not only create unforgettable experiences for him, you also find your way back to your deepest feminine power. I understand that it can be frightening to allow yourself this true vulnerability, especially if you have been hurt, if you have had experiences where you felt unappreciated, if you thought you had to pretend to be loved. But I assure you, this is exactly the path to true connection. Because the truth is this: the sex that remains forever in memory is not technical. It is emotional. It is not perfect. It is real. It is not acted. It is felt. And when a mature woman realizes this and allows herself to embody exactly that, she becomes magnetic in a way that goes far beyond the physical. Your emotional maturity, your ability to be truly present, your authenticity without shame, your wisdom to create conscious tension, your power to affirm sincerely, your gift of taking initiative from genuine desire, and your ability for vulnerable eye contact. These are your strongest tools. You do not need to be younger. You do not need a different body. You do not need to learn complicated techniques. You only need to connect with what already lives within you, what has matured through your experiences, what has deepened through your inner journey. And when you do that, When you allow yourself to embody this authentic and powerful version of yourself in intimacy, you not only create unforgettable experiences for him, but you also find your way back to your feminine essence, deep, alive, and transformative. I have seen women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s rediscover their seductive power in ways they never thought possible. Women who believed their best years were behind them, only to realize that their most powerful and magnetic years were just beginning. Because true seduction, the kind that truly touches and transforms, does not come from youth or a perfect body. It comes from self-knowledge, from emotional presence, from the ability to love without masks, from a wisdom that can only be gained through living, feeling, and healing. Remember, every emotional scar you have healed has given you more compassion. Every wound you have transformed has given you more depth. Every experience you have lived through has gifted you with more wisdom. The wisdom to truly connect with another human being. Because in the end, the sex that truly leaves a mark, that remains forever in emotional memory, is the one where two people meet each other in their truest, most vulnerable and most human form. And this ability to truly meet is the most valuable gift you can give and receive. This is your true advantage as a mature woman. You do not need to compare yourself to younger versions of yourself or to other women. Your power lies in something entirely different, in something unique. It lies in your ability to create real emotional intimacy, to offer true presence, to love without fear, to connect from soul to soul. And when a woman recognizes this truth and fully lives it, she becomes a force of love that transforms not only her intimacy but her entire life. Because when you know who you are and allow yourself to fully be that, you radiate a magic that is absolutely irresistible. A magic that does not depend on age, body, or techniques, but on something much deeper, your ability to be completely yourself, in all your greatness. This is the true revolution of the mature woman, to understand that our seductive power does not fade with age, but becomes more refined, deepened, and therefore all the more powerful. When you embrace this truth, you not only transform your intimate life, you become a beacon of authenticity, inspiring other women to reclaim their own power. Emotional maturity is the strongest aphrodisiac there is because it means being fully present, loving unconditionally, and connecting from the deepest truth. And that is a magic no technique in the world can teach, because it arises from life lived, from a heart that has healed, from a soul that has found itself.